Okay, next up, Andrea will take us into the transformative impact of video games on the state of education within Europe, with a focus on narratives from Romania. So let's learn the innovative ways Romanian educators are integrating video games into their teaching methods to unlock new horizons in learning.
Yeah, thank you. Hi. Ooh, okay. I'd like to take a moment for you to see a small snapshot of how the industry looks like in Romania, because most probably not a lot of people know that we have quite an industry in our country in terms of number of people that are actually employed in the industry is number 5 in entire Europe. So it's quite big for a country that you probably heard not so much about. The reason we have so many people is that we have a very big Ubisoft studio in Romania since the early 90s, which is another thing. The fact that the industry is has such a long history behind it. That's also really cool. And in terms of independent studios, we have quite a few that have international recognition. We also have a lot of work for hire studios that develop games for everyone around the world. So, what I'm going to talk to you about, though, is not about the game development industry in Romania, but about the Games in Schools program that we are doing for the past 2 years. And the Games in School program is actually a European program that we localized in Romania, which is, in a way, training teachers to use commercial video games in school for different subjects. So, to use it as a tool for education in terms of attracting students towards different subjects like math and biology and other stuff like that. So, the Games in Schools program is actually a program that was created at the European level by European School Network, which is the network of ministries of education in Europe, and by Video Games Europe, which is one of the federations in the industry. And RGDA, which is the Romanian Game Developers Association, localized this program. So, why we did it, first of all? So, the status quo of how education looks like in Romania, and in general, digitalization looks like in Romania. So, as you can see, for example, here as a comparison for other European countries, the school dropout level is quite high in Romania. And although it kind of dropped in the past 10 years or so, it's still at a level quite high comparing to other countries. For example, looking here around different years and the dropout rates, and now looking towards, for example, how Romania looks like. How Romania looks like, how the EU level target is, and how other countries in Europe are doing. So quite big. So the status quo, it says exactly that. The fact that Romania has a very early leavers education and training quota. So we have a problem keeping kids in school. Another thing that we have a problem of in Romania is in terms of performance. So in terms of evaluation and results, academic results of children. So I looked like at the PISA, the Program for International Student Assessment results, which is a very nice OECD metric to see how the academic level of children is in different countries. And for example, I'm looking here at the United States. What's not great is the fact that it keeps dropping. It looks really weird because it's dropping quite at alarming levels. But it's still a good score overall. If you're looking at, for example, also Germany, they're also dropping, by the way, but they also have quite a good score in math and science and reading. And then you look at Romania. If you remember, US, Germany, they were around the 500, um, 500 something. And then for Romania, for example, it's not dropping, but it goes from quite a low level of academic result scores. So we have children that leave school very often. We have very low academic results. So that's the status quo. And then another thing that we have, and it's also quite alarming in terms of education, but not only for children, but also for teachers and in general for adults, is our digitalization score. So I'm also showing you guys, for example, the Digital Economy and Society Index for 2022, and you see Romania is obviously the lowest in all the European Union countries. And it's mostly concerning when you look at human capital, so the way that they people know how to use the digital world and to be integrated into the digital economy of today. And the fact that its relative annual growth is behind that of its peers is also very, very concerning. It's not only that we have a lot to catch up with, it's also that we're not catching up as fast as we could. For example, in terms of economic growth and GDP growth, we're catching up because we have high GDP growths and scores. But in terms of digitalization, even our growth rates are, let's say, because we're only a few people here, shitty. So this is the status quo. This is how things look like. We have poor digitalization. We have early leavers in school, and we also have poorer academic results than our European fellows. Also, they obviously, if I saw that, others have seen this before, and obviously, there's a strategy in Romania with the Ministry of Education to reduce digital gaps and increase socioeconomic inclusion by increasing digital skills and internet use among the general population and the disadvantaged groups. So this is something that they're trying to do, but not many know how to do that. And how to do that, we thought that the best way to do that actually is through video games. At first, when I saw the Games in School program at the European level and I saw what's happening in our country, I thought, okay, so build it and they will come, and you're giving them the miracle solution and it's going to be amazing, and all teachers are going to use it, and children are going to be happy and have a better academic results and don't leave school. But obviously that didn't happen. I'll show you why. But we are kind of on the right path. So bring in video games. Why video games? Because first of all, it helps them familiarize with digitalization. So in general, you're here, you know about the power of play and the power of games when it comes to education. But here we needed something more than that. We didn't only need games, we needed to make sure it's video games, because video games are the ones that also help with digitalization. So that's the reason why we thought of that. And then also can help with school attendance. You can imagine, especially in impoverished communities in Romania, having a PC and playing all day. That's not something that can actually happen. And having that possibility to do that in school and immerse yourselves into commercial games and cool games is something that would keep them more in school than some other traditional methods would. And then also can help with better academic results, because this is something that we know from different research, that if you use, in a way, interactive, immersive experiences to teach people, then they get it especially children, they get it better if they do it through play and through video games than if they would get it in any other way. So that's the reason why we decided the Games in School program would be very good program for us. What they created at the European level is this handbook for teachers, and you can actually find it on the Video Games Europe website. And I think it's also good for people in the States to use it, because the games are very international. Most of them are English. So are in English, so it's actually easier for schools in the States to use this handbook than for us, because some of the games are not localized. So the handbook for teachers, it's on the VGE website, Video Games Europe. You should definitely check it out. They're always updating it as well every few years. So we took the handbook, we translated it, and then we took around 30 teachers. We brought them to Bucharest, the capital of Romania, from different places in Romania. We brought them there. We taught them the handbook. We showed them the handbook, and we decided to follow what they're doing for a whole year to see, as a pilot program, what's going on. So at first, obviously, they were super excited about what we were showing them. They were very much engaged. Some of them were early adopters, so some of them were actually already using video games in schools, and some of them were like um, very nice ladies 2 years before retirement who've never played in their life a video game. So this is very different also in terms of general audiences in Romania and in the US, for example, because teachers today in the US, let's say, and parents today, they actually have played games in their childhood. A lot of people in Romania at this age of becoming teachers and so on, they have not done that in their childhood, so they're not very exposed to video games, and that's one of the problems that we encountered, and I'll tell you more about that. What we did do with them, though, with these 30 teachers, is that we created lists of video games that are specifically helpful for fifth to eighth graders and the curricula that exists in Romania. So we kind of adapted the handbook with these lists, because obviously the handbook, if you check it out, you'll see it's big. It's a list of a lot of games, and teachers don't really have time to test them all. And in order to make sure that they're going to use some of these games, we wanted to make sure that we can integrate it towards the curricula that they have. So that means that we looked with the 10 math teachers, we looked at the curricula for fifth to eighth graders, and then we tried on the games that said they're good for math for middle school, and then we took some star games that we think are very helpful and can be easily picked up by teachers. And then obviously we also did some lists of advice and recommendations for teachers on how to pick this up. So we kept them for a year. We wanted to test the method last year. So we had a WhatsApp group with them where we talked about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And we tried to give them new games to look through. We did filming live classes so that we showed them how to, for example, teach Greek mythology through Assassin's Creed, and use the discovery tours at Ubisoft, which are free for educators, in order to help this to help children immerse themselves in those eras. We did webinars for them. We found out it's even hard for them to. So we say, you guys, there's free Assassin's Creed and a few other Ubisoft games for all educators. Just go on ubisoft.com/whatever and take these games for free. And then we realized, well, and we asked a month afterwards, we were like, okay, so did you download those? Did you use them? And they're like, no, we actually tried to do it and we didn't know how to. So we said, okay, so we need to have live Zoom with you guys and help you register step by step, because that's also something that's a bottleneck that's hard to do if you're not used to doing these things digitally. We also did hardware donations because obviously we realized, like, oh, I'll show you how to play video games in class. Well, great, thanks, but we don't have hardware, so how can that be done? So we obviously have thousands of people being employed in the games industry. We have big studios with almost more than 1,000 people working for Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, and so on, and they have PCs that go out of style for them. They have a lot of consoles that can also be donated. So what we did, we took those consoles, those PCs, and so on, and we shipped them to different schools so that they have also the hardware necessary for the games to be able to do that. And then another thing that we did, because we wanted to keep them close, and we realized that teachers are very into creating experiences for their students, but also for them. We took them out of class and we took them to different studios in video game studios in Bucharest, so that they show children how video games are made and why video games are made and so on, and they loved it. A few hundred kids in 2 days came from different places in Romania. We bought everything for them so that they can come and join, and it was amazing. And another interesting thing, because I see now the Unicredit Bank logo there, is that this specific program, Games in Schools in Romania, it's not actually sponsored by a video game studio or a company, but it's sponsored by a bank. And I think that's important to mention, because in general, you can find allies in very different other industries, although you're talking about video games. So what we found out doesn't work. I kind of told you a bit before, but to be more concise. So first of all, they don't use it consistently. So they were super excited at first, but afterwards, when I asked every month or so, how many times did you use it? Oh, I didn't use it this time. Oh, I didn't use it the other time, and so on. And one of the reasons was that the curricula is very, very stuffy. I don't know how it is here in the States or in other countries, but in Romania, the curricula is very stuffy, and that means teachers don't have a lot of time to actually turn on a game and do a 10-minute immersive experience, and then teach them what they had to teach them in that hour. So that was a problem that kind of got them excited at first, but then when reality hit, they kind of stopped using it. And another obvious thing is that, yeah, I told you about no internet, no hardware, and so on, and that's what we're trying to achieve more and more, to have schools ready for this program through hardware donations. And then the fact that, that's when we realized that the digitalization level of teachers in Romania is worse than we actually thought. So we don't have to go and teach them how to play video games. We have to teach them how to turn on a computer, because we're talking about math teachers, we're talking about biology teachers, by geography, history teachers. These guys have never used, or girls have never used PCs or the digital world in teaching. So we needed to teach them that, how these things are done. It has to be an extra step that we haven't thought of, that we have to do, and it also obviously takes time. So learning what we learned from the pilot, then we thought, okay, so obviously with donations, that's the simplest thing, that's the easiest thing that we could do. But then we needed to make sure we have two other ingredients. So the first thing we said, okay, it's stuffy, the curricula, it's a lot, they can't use it through their normal hours, then we need to go to the Ministry of Education and we need to create a curricula for optional game, no, optional classes, courses. For example, math and video games, biology through video games, learning history through video games. So this type of optional courses that can be done by teachers, and they get an extra hour per week where they can do only that subject through video games. And because it's a new method of learning and it's not a new subject, the ministry said everyone can do it at the county level. You just give them the curricula for such an optional game, for such an optional subject. You give them the curricula. The teachers who want to do it, you form them, you train them, and then they can ask children. So 3 months before each semester comes, teachers propose optional classes to students, and if they have enough students who want that class, then the next semester they are teaching that. I don't think we'll have any problem having kids agreeing to such a class. We just need to make sure that we're training teachers enough and that we're building awareness for these optional courses so that teachers actually take it. And then, so the creating optional classes, this is what I was telling you about. And for all this to happen, and the most important thing that we're going to do now, and it's a success story because we already have them authorized, is that we thought, okay, it took us a year and it took us a lot of resources to train 30 teachers. Like, how can we scale that up? How can we get more people, more teachers interested? And how can we make sure that they're interested enough to actually go through that more than normal? So we realized that we need to meet them where they are. So that means, I don't know if I wrote it here. No. That means the Professional Training Center for Educators. So that's an institution in Romania. I don't know how that's called in English. Or how it's named in the US. But what these guys are doing, they're training teachers, and they're giving teachers, if they follow these trainings, they're giving teachers extra credits and extra hours of work. So that means that they're getting paid to get these trainings, and that's the reason why we think they're going to come more than if we would have done it without this extra credit thing. And I hope they're going to come because we're also going to offer it for free, which is another thing that they haven't done before. So yes, teaching through formal trainings teachers how to open a computer and how to use video games, and having extra credits for them once they perform this, we think that this is the way to go forward in terms of how to reach more teachers in that. So I don't have time for this question anymore, but if you think of something that you think works in terms of getting teachers more interested in playing video games and using video games in class, you have my email address, and you can um, start a conversation with me there. So thank you very much.